All right, sorry about that, but we had to pause for issues. But Bonnie's flipping through the local paper,
Yeah.
which is what, devoid of nothing.
It's actually larger now than the Athens Banner Herald.
Okay, well,
That's pretty sad.
let's set that aside because the crinkling paper is driving me bonkers.
Okay.
Okay, so you've been watching Spooks lately.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. It's a British produced show about MI5. And what has been interesting are the different angles, perspectives towards America as aggressor nation, towards Israel as an aggressor nation, as Russia as an aggressor nation. And I see a lot of the scenarios that play out there in the fictional script playing out now as they deal with folks that are affecting local British politics and the economy, etc. The most obvious difference between this British written show and American TV is the way that they don't coddle Israel. Israel has committed genocide now to the tune of 40,000 plus Palestinians murdered. And on the show, they just present Israel in a real light. Both as a target of small bombings and attacks by Hamas, Hezbollah, etc. But they also point out Israel's duality and hypocrisy with regard to owning nukes and not wanting anybody else to. And then the fact that they slaughter innocents. And it's a breath of fresh air to see Israel being handled in the real sense of the way that they act.
Okay. Did you see? I just barely started watching it, but the principal cast of Slow Horses was on Colbert like yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, and
Gary Oldman just got knighted or something. He's now Sir Gary.
so I don't know if you want to watch it together or not.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So does that mean that they're coming back?
It must be. It must be promotional. There's
By the
no way.
The one who plays his secretary, is it Catherine? Is that her name?
Who's secretary?
Gary Oldman's secretary in
Oh, the older lady. Yeah.
Yeah. Saskia Reeves, I think is her name. She is in MI5 as a replacement.
You mean on Spooks?
Yeah, sorry. MI5 Spooks. As a replacement for somebody for a day, and she gets killed the same episode. But I was hoping she'd be a regular part, but nope.
When I was a kid, we had this enormous German Shepherd named Spook. He was a former guard dog.
Was he, what color was he?
Regular German Shepherd.
Why did they call him Spook?
Well, I don't know if it was a racial association or just because he was fucking terrifying. He terrified me. Why my dad got this fucking dog, I do not know. When we were moving from the one-story house across town, we had, I can't remember what the chronology is, but basically came home one night, I guess from church, and Spook had gotten into my grandparents' chicken house and killed all the chickens.
Jeez.
It was a big deal. And my dad used to have probably a 74 F-100 pickup truck. And I guess all four of us were in the cab of the truck going somewhere. And they had the windows down. And my dad, for a joke, told Spook, get in here with us. And he jumped through the window of the driver's door and landed across the four of us. And I have no memory of this, but my dad said that I did this. Get this dog off of me.
How old were you?
Oh God, 4?
That's awful.
Yeah, 4,
You can have
5.
an animal that terrorizes a child.
Well, I look. You know where that we lived over there, and you know how
Yeah.
far it is from the beginning of that road down to where we lived. What, maybe 300 yards, 400, 500, 600 feet. You know, you got to walk. The school bus would drop me off there, and I had to walk to the house. Right. Well, that fucking dog would know I was coming, hear me, smell me, see me, and want to meet me. He had no ill will, but it still terrified me. And one day I got off the bus and I was dying to pee. And I've got to try to find some way. Every day it was like try to find some way to get into the house without having the dog notice me, right?
Yeah.
I had to pee up against a tree. It was so bad.
That, it is amazing to me when I listen to stories about your father, how bad he was as a parent. I mean, that story about him driving you down a dirt road and telling you to get out, making you get out of the truck because, quote, they didn't want you anymore.
Yeah.
And then driving off and then coming back going, oh, it was a joke.
Yeah.
That's cruel beyond belief.
I was about 3 or 4 when he did that.
Why would somebody do that to a child?
But
What the fuck's wrong with him?
I don't know. It's a sadomasochist thing that their beloved father did it to them, and they had to somehow internalize it. Well, he's a good man that I love, and it must have been for my own good that he tormented me. I'll pass this on to my son one day.
God, if you had done that, grounds for divorce.
The worst thing I ever did in that along those lines, when we lived in the old house, we had that tank-like Oldsmobile that we got from my grandfather. And Peter had this thing where he did not want to do what he was told, and he did not want to obey. Went out for a ride one day and came back. Okay, Peter, time to get out of the car. Nope, just want to sit in the back seat, sit in the car seat, and not listen to a fucking thing. So I'm like, okay, you can stay in the car.
What?
So I went back. I said, I'm going to teach him a lesson. So I went back out there, and when I crawled on my hands and knees and got up against the car, and I started pushing the car up and down with my feet and making growling noises. And I heard him go, ah, ah, like I want out. So I popped up and said, okay, you want to come in the house now?
I'm not speaking to you.
Well, you know how obstinate he was when he was a kid.
He could be. He could be.
To
the
you
point
tell-
We had to take him out of several places. We had gone to Atlanta to the High Museum.
Exactly the
and Peter was 3, and we had him in a stroller. Reed was walking around, and he got in his head that he was finished. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. At this point, we'd taken him on the stroller, so he's on the floor doing this. I said, "We're going." Oh, we're going, all right.
He sat on the floor under this enormous painting with his back to the wall and just sort of like grumbling to himself, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home.
He doesn't like any kind of change, any kind of difference. We just bought a new set of silverware. This is the first set of silverware I've ever owned since we've been married. And so I put the new ones in last night, and he was raising hell this morning. What's wrong with y'all? Blah, where do you gotta go spending? What's the woman doing spending money? Blah, blah, blah. Hey,
I was,
like you in that regard.
I had just come in the room, just to sort of like, hey, how you doing this morning, you know, and he was throwing a fit about the silverware, and I went sort of bouncing over to him, and I said, don't wake her up. He goes, I'm not trying to wake her up. I'm just trying to find out why we have this new silverware. I want the old silverware. Why is she spending money on brand new silverware?
How about
I'm thinking,
that time I come out and listen to this bullshit?
oh, okay. So
He woke me up.
I said, here's the regular silverware, and so I left. I wasn't gone but maybe 10 minutes. Came back, and I was shocked to see you were up. So he woke you up.
Yeah, he woke me up with his bullshit. He does not like change. When we moved into this house from the house next door, we were in the house a day, 2, and he goes, I'm going to go to my old room. I'm going to my old room. I miss my old room. I'm like, There was no air conditioning.
I remember him being like 5 and going, "Things were better when I was 3."
What the fuck was that about?
Oh my God.
The level of discontentment. You this morning, after Peter left, you went, "What is wrong with him?" And you described his morning routine. He goes, I sat there and I watched him as he turned and twisted and put on this thing, and then he had to have it adjusted just so, and then he put on something else. He has to make all these little adjustments and stuff. I said, "Lance, your son has OCD. How do you not know this?" He's been like this since he was tiny. He had nighttime. We had nighttime routines. We had routines to get the kids into bed. But you did not vary from the routine when it came to tucking him in bed, tuck him in a certain way, give him a kiss, say goodnight. He had to hear it. And it was this little, "I love you, I 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 love you, good night, good night."
The first night we were in this house, it was Halloween, and I had to go to bed. And so my bed isn't even assembled yet. I just had a mattress on the floor. So I'm laying down to go to sleep, and here comes Peter. They're going to go out trick-or-treating, and he has got a glow-in-the-dark skeleton outfit on. And he comes in the room, and I'm like, this is not what I want to see right before I go to sleep.
I thought that he was a knight today.
Another year, you made this costume for him out of cardboard and poster board. And it was really, really well done. And he came in the room to, second night. He comes in the room and he goes, "I'm a medieval knight." Had the helmet and everything. It was really cool.
I did a damn good job. I think it stemmed from the fact that he had like a Nerf sword or something like that. And we had gotten him a stained glass window box that had a knight laying in repose post-mortem. And he just thought knights were the end all. And then there was the Monty Python Holy Grail Kniggets. And so it was both something he thought was funny and he thought was really cool. So yeah, I made that for him.
The last year that I ever went trick-or-treating, it's getting a little too old for it, but this is my last time I'm going to go. I went with my sister and our cousin, and his mother drove us around. All right, this town used to be 80% old people, okay, when I was growing up. Anyway, right up the road here, there's a little bitty house with a screened-in front porch. And we get to these people's house, right? And they got the light on, so that's the signal that they're receptive to trick-or-treaters. Go up to the door, ring the doorbell, knock on the door, and this old lady in like house slippers and like a what do you call it? What's the robe called? The house coat comes to the door, and we say trick or treat. She makes no facial expression whatsoever and doesn't say a word. She reaches around on like right inside the door, and she shoves an unopened bag of like Smarties or Dum Dums candy in each of our hands, turns around without having said a word, closes the door, turns the light off. Like I've done. I was thinking the same way that I'm done with trick-or-treating this year, she's done with it. She knows she's going to be dead within a year, so it's over. Here's your fucking candy. Now get the fuck off my property.
We took the kids over to the hospital district to trick-or-treat 1 year.
2 or 3 years in a row.
And 1 year there was this house we went up to, and the light was on. And the kids went, "Trick-or-treat," and the guy looked at him, and he goes, "Here," and hands him pencils, then closes the door. I was like, "Yay, pencils!" Didn't have to buy any pencils.
Well, there was this older, this older couple, 2 women, and they made a production out of it. They had all this candy, and they took Polaroids of each kid and then gave the kid the Polaroid. So they gave us 2 or 3 because they got a shot of you. You were wearing that witch's costume.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was such a nice little neighborhood. That was King Street, basically, wasn't it? And that surrounding area, right?
No, no, it wasn't King Street. It was one over. What's the historic district called? Cobham. I think it was on Cobham. Cobb
Okay,
Street.
got you.
Cobb
Yeah.
Street. It
Um,
was across the street from where Gwen Oloney lives.
I used to know exactly where she lived, and I cannot remember where it was now. But Athens is got. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking about there used to be a bookstore over there in that little stretch of shops next to where Allen's was, and I was trying to think of what the name of the bookstore, and it was Normal Town News and Tobacco. Do you remember this?
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, because they had really filthy porn in the back.
They had seriously naughty porn in the back, and it was brown paper bags over it. And I was going out with a guy who brought something over that he gotten over there, and I was like, I don't know what you've got in mind for tonight, but count me out.
I was in there one day. I the drummer for REM was at the counter talking to the guy running the place, and he wanted to keep his. He had come out of the back where the porno shit was, and he went straight to the counter, and he was asking him like, "Do you have some specific kind?" He wanted some specific kind of pornography. I didn't catch what he said though.
Are you talking about the name of the magazine, or are you talking about the kink?
I think it was the specific,
kink?
the specific genre of perversion that he was into. That's the first place.
I don't think perversion's the right word.
Well, you may change your mind when you hear what I have to say,
What?
because that was the first time I ever saw a magazine devoted to what they call milking mothers.
Oh my God.
Getting your horn
Jollies.
on by looking at pictures of milk coming out of women's nipples.
Jesus.
Not really my thing. So,
my God.
I bought this stupid book on how to grow cannabis there for like $50, and this has been 35 years ago, and knowing full well it's never going to happen. I loaned that book to somebody that I used to work with, and never got it back.
Rowland's Chemical on Oak Street was known for hydroponics growing of pot and such. And for a while, when the metal radio station was in town, they took out specialty ads. And the specialty ads we have such and fertilizer and such, and everything for your hydroponic needs for growing. And then somebody injects green beans or whatever you're growing in your home, and all the lighting needs that you need for growing green beans.
Oh, Lord. I can't believe how I must have been rolling in money in those days, relatively speaking, with disposable income, because the shit I would blow money on.
Well, we were single, had no kids, and rent wasn't through the roof back then.
Living cheap.
I had a 3-bedroom for $335. Jesus Christ!
I wasn't tied to medication back then. I have a vested stake in seeing that civilization continues, because I got to have prescription pills to live.
I worked just enough hours that I worked at a job where they gave me health insurance with no copayment from me. I didn't even think about health insurance at that point. I was like, oh, health insurance.
I don't know why, but now this is 35 years ago. The Yoko Ono box set came out, and I bought it at Turtles for $90.
Jesus!
Why? I don't know. I thought it was. You hear that it's so experimental and such influence on this and that,
Ugh.
and it's just a big nothing.
Nothing.
Whoop-de-doo. It's like people who talk about how great John Lennon's first solo record is. I just don't see it. It's not piss poor, but on the other hand, it's not Revolver. I mean, just to compare it to just something at random.
Yeah.
Oh me. Um, we had a pretty good talk with your parents, and I interjected with something. Didn't follow through with it because I thought they might get insulted. But
What?
they were talking about basically their daily lives, and it struck me. Yeah, you're both retired, and that's when I said, I told Bonnie, this makes me think of how much fun we could have if I was retired.
Do you
Just
know that they live on different schedules?
yeah, no,
He's up by 8 every morning so he can take his pills. And then he makes himself breakfast and spends hours doing online stuff. And then he gets her up sometime afternoon and makes her lunch. He's 12 years older than her. And then she begins her afternoon without him. And he goes out and starts piddling around in the shop, the yard, or, learning something new. And she's inside doing her own thing. And then in the evenings, they come together and they do a meal together. And then they watch a movie or TV show. They are big into watching TV. They go through all the series. They're constantly pushing stuff at me. And then he'll hit the hay. And then she'll go to bed 4 hours after him. She stays up and
well,
will watch some kind of random show.
as much as I hate the night shift, I will admit that sticking to the night shift schedule on the weekends has enabled me to get a hell of a lot done.
Yeah, and I'm perfectly cool with that. One of the things that when your parents divorced, your sister alienated your father, and so I had to step into the gap and listen to what was going on. And your father said that your mother dismissed everything he wanted to do. For a while, he was riding horses and would go off on weekends with the guys every once in a while. And she's like, you don't need to spend time on all these. You need to stay at home. You need to be around the kids, blah, blah, blah. So he ended up having to get rid of the horses. He had to stop going away with the guys. And God forbid, he could never have a beer around her. And apparently, it was a thing for her when he walked in the door. She goes, Doyle, I need you to such and such. And he said he was so tired of hearing Doyle, because it was always followed by I need you to. He goes, do you realize how many times I moved that damn sofa in the house? I said, which one? He goes, yeah, that was another thing. She went through 8 sofas. I was laughing so hard because I knew exactly what he meant.
I mean, if I could just live my life without having to go to that fucking job, everything would be fine.
Yeah.
But just to stay here and paint and stuff all day would be great.
Listen to music.
You know what? I think we just mentioned this on the earlier part of this episode.
What?
The retirement thing.
Yeah, we did.
Because we talked about the hobby farm, little orchard.
Yeah. But
Um,
the more Doyle was around Jane in their post-retirement, the more he realized he didn't want to be around her. He went to Athens Tech and got a real estate license. He got into some kind of Ponzi scheme. What was it? Multi-level marketing crap. Selling some shit with somebody from work.
He did that with Amway back in the early 70s.
Yeah, he's always been a sucker for that shit.
We had all this Amway shit around the house for years and years.
And the more time they had to spend around each other, the more time he realized he was absolutely miserable. So you gonna get that way?
No.
We have really carved out our lives with each other in mind, you know?
Yeah. I think there's still a lot of, what's the word? Misunderstanding. You interpret, like, one of us will wrongly interpret the other one's emotional state based on something,
Yeah, you're fucking clueless about my emotional state.
and like vice versa, sweetie pie.
I just know that you're old and grumpy and
You just
tired.
assume I'm always in a bad mood. When in fact I'm usually in a good mood.
I don't assume that you're in a bad mood. I just assume that you need sleep, you need to eat. There's a few other needs in there too. Um, we've come up with little pictures that when the other one doesn't want to be disturbed, we leave these up. And it's one of them is "Go the fuck away" with some kind of person. The other is a woman sitting under an umbrella, like a vampire type of thing with the sun out or something. Again, it's the "Go the fuck away, leave me alone." Actually, that one's "Leave me alone." Because sometimes you just want to have somebody leave you the fuck alone.
I have a little piece of poster board that I drew a guy on sitting at a drafting table looking back over his shoulder, and it's captioned "Get out." And I did that when we lived in the old place because I
Oh
was
my
trying to
God.
draw and you were bothering me. I was going to hang it on the door.
Yeah, you really do have to take your cues from the other person, and sometimes you need shortcuts to those cues. Like today, I just pulled up the picture when he came in the room. I just left him the computer, and he's like, "Okay, I'm leaving. I'm leaving." Sometimes you just don't want to be bothered. Too many times he comes in, I'm like, "Just give me another 15 minutes, okay? Let me finish here, okay? All right." It's like, "What are you doing now?" "Well, I'm right here doing the dishes." And he's gotten to the point where he knows that if he comes in there and I'm doing the dishes, he better not ask me what I'm doing because I'll go, "Get the drying rag, dear."
All right, now I don't know how much we can drag this out.
We don't have to. Just put it up as part 2.
Yeah, I need to get down to some work tonight.
I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the evening. I
Okay.
got most of the dishes done from dinner, but there's a few little counters and other things to wipe down.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's about it until next week. Work 3 days, then I'm off for the Juneteenth thing, and then I got to go back for 1 day. So we'll see how it works out. All right, bye.
Bye.